The air was thick with anticipation. Guests whispered in hushed tones, eyes glistening with joy as the bride made her way down the aisle. But for Alex, standing at the altar, his heart raced not with excitement, but with dread. He had just uncovered a secret so devastating it threatened to unravel the very fabric of his reality. How could the woman he was about to marry, the woman he thought he knew better than anyone, be hiding such a dark truth? The vows were ready, the rings polished, but what Alex didn't know was that the woman he loved had been living a lie that would shatter everything. What could be worse than a wedding day disaster? You won't believe what happens next. Before we dive deeper, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're new here, click on the subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. Alex was everything a man could hope to be: successful, ambitious, and in love with Lucy, a woman he thought he knew better than anyone. Their relationship had been nothing short of a fairy tale. The way they met seemed destined, and their connection had always felt effortless. From the first time Alex laid eyes on her, something deep inside him told him she was the one. Their bond grew stronger with each passing day, and after years of dating, Alex had finally made the decision to ask her to marry him. Lucy was everything he had dreamed of: beautiful, compassionate, and with a smile that could light up the darkest room. She had stood by him through every trial, every challenge, and in Alex's eyes, there was no one else he'd ever want to share his life with. Their wedding day was no ordinary celebration. The venue was grand, situated on the edge of a pristine lake with towering trees framing the landscape. Everything about it screamed luxury and elegance. The atmosphere was electric with excitement as family and friends filled the pews. It was the perfect setting, the perfect moment, to make a promise that would last forever. But beneath the glimmering lights and the excitement of the day, there was a darkness lurking, one Alex couldn't yet see. Lucy, who had always been the picture of grace and perfection, was hiding something from him, something Alex had no idea about, and something that would soon come to light in the most unexpected and painful way. Her loyalty wasn't to him, it was to something else entirely, something that, if exposed, would destroy the future Alex had built around her. What was she hiding? What could possibly be more important than the man she was about to marry? As the ceremony drew closer, Alex began to sense that things weren't as they seemed. Little things started to feel off: her distant glances, her sudden phone calls that she quickly dismissed as nothing, the way she avoided certain conversations. He thought it was just the stress of the wedding. After all, who wouldn't be nervous on such an important day? But deep down, he felt the creeping suspicion that something was amiss. And now, as the final moments before the wedding arrived, Alex found himself wondering if he had been blind to the truth. Would he confront Lucy? Would he risk everything to expose the betrayal before it was too late? Or would he go through with the wedding, keeping his doubts to himself, and forever carry the weight of the unknown? Everything Alex had worked for, everything he believed in, was on the brink of unraveling. The woman he loved, the life they were supposed to build together. Could it all be shattered in the blink of an eye? The excitement of the day still lingered in the air as Alex arrived at the hotel. The grand ballroom where their wedding reception would soon take place was already beginning to fill with guests, each person glowing with joy and anticipation. The soft hum of chatter and the clinking of glasses echoed through the lobby. But despite the festive atmosphere, something felt off. Something Alex couldn't quite place. He tried to shake it off, telling himself it was just pre-wedding jitters. Yet, the nagging feeling in the back of his mind wouldn't go away. As he made his way toward their hotel suite, his thoughts were clouded with uncertainty. Lucy had always been a vision of warmth and happiness, but that night, something seemed different about her. Her dog, Brutus, a massive, imposing bulldog, had always been protective of her, to the point that Alex had often wondered if the dog didn't like him. But tonight, it wasn't just suspicion in Brutus's eyes. There was an unsettling tension in the air, something more pronounced than usual. As Alex entered the suite, he could feel Brutus's watchful gaze on him, like the dog could sense the storm that was about to hit. Lucy, blissfully unaware of Alex's inner turmoil, stepped into the room, calling Brutus over to the bed where she had laid out her things. But Alex's attention was drawn elsewhere, toward the nightstand where Lucy's phone lay. As he moved across the room, he saw it. The phone buzzed once, then twice. The screen lit up with a message. He couldn't help himself. He glanced over. The message, briefly visible, was from a name Alex didn't recognize. "Hey, babe. Can't wait to see you tonight." The room seemed to freeze. Alex's heart skipped a beat. His mind raced, processing the words he had just read. It was a message from another man, someone who, judging by the tone, wasn't just a friend. No, this was someone who knew Lucy on a much more personal level. Alex's breath caught in his throat, his hand instinctively tightening around the edge of the table. He wanted to ignore it. He wanted to believe it was a harmless text, a simple misunderstanding. But deep down, he couldn't escape the cold, harsh truth that was slowly creeping into his consciousness. "What was that message?" Alex asked quietly, his voice barely above a whisper. Lucy, who had been sorting through her bag, looked up, momentarily startled by the question. Her eyes darted to the phone, and then back to Alex. "Oh, it's nothing," she said quickly, brushing off the concern with a forced smile. "It's just a friend from work. Nothing to worry about." But Alex wasn't convinced. The words she had spoken didn't match the fear he saw flash in her eyes. She was lying. And as the seconds stretched into minutes, that gnawing doubt in his stomach grew louder. The feeling that something wasn't right, that the world he had known, the woman he had loved, was slipping through his fingers, became undeniable. Lucy, sensing his growing discomfort, walked over to him, trying to brush it off. "You're being silly, Alex. It's just a message. Let's focus on tonight, our wedding night. We've been waiting for this for so long." She tried to pull him into an embrace, but Alex couldn't shake the feeling that he was standing on the edge of something catastrophic. As Alex stood there, 1,000 thoughts raced through his mind. Was this the beginning of his worst nightmare? Was the woman he was about to marry hiding something far darker than he could have imagined? And if so, how deep did the lies go? The more he tried to push away the suspicion, the stronger it became. The phone, the message, the look in her eyes, they all told a story he wasn't ready to hear. Alex knew he had to find the truth, but at what cost? But the truth was darker than anyone expected. Alex had no idea that, while he was obsessing over the phone and the messages, someone else was watching him closely that night. Someone who had been observing everything from the shadows. Someone who would soon play a role in the shocking events that would follow. The twists were only beginning to unfold, and Alex's life was about to change in ways he never thought possible. Alex stood in front of the hotel room door, ready to leave to meet his groomsmen. His excitement from earlier in the day had faded, replaced by an unsettling feeling in his gut that wouldn't go away. As he reached for the door handle, he paused. He could hear Lucy's voice, faint but distinct. She was speaking with someone on the phone, and although the conversation was muffled, Alex's curiosity got the best of him. He pressed his ear against the door, trying to make out the words. The tension in the air was thick, and as he listened, the faint sound of laughter drifted from the room. It wasn't the kind of laughter Alex was used to hearing from Lucy, warm, full of life, the sound that always put him at ease. This was different. It felt distant, almost forced. It didn't take long before Alex's heart began to race. Something wasn't right. His breath caught in his chest as he heard the words clearly now. "If it wasn't for his money, I would have left him a long time ago." The words were like a punch to his gut. The phone call wasn't just a conversation, it was a confession that would forever alter the course of Alex's life. Alex's hands trembled as he stood frozen, unable to move, unable to comprehend what he had just heard. His mind spun in a blur, unable to make sense of the cruel reality unfolding before him. The woman he loved, the woman he had planned to spend the rest of his life with, had been using him. She didn't love him. It was never about love. It was about money. She had been with him, not for who he was, but for what he could provide. The shock was overwhelming, numbing every part of his being. The room felt as if it was closing in on him. His breath became shallow, his chest tight. Alex's world, which had once felt so certain, so full of promise, was now collapsing before his eyes. Lucy's voice, now growing clearer as she continued her conversation, confirmed the worst of his fears. "I'll divorce him after the wedding," Lucy said, her tone casual, as if discussing a trivial matter. "I'll take half of everything, and then I'll be free." Alex felt the weight of those words sink into his chest. The betrayal wasn't just in her words, it was in the casual ease with which she spoke about him, about their future. He had been nothing more than a pawn in her game, a tool for her to use. His heart shattered with the realization that everything he had built, every dream he had for their future, was nothing more than a lie. The tears he had held back for so long threatened to spill, but Alex didn't let them. His pride, the part of him that always stayed strong, pushed them back. He could feel his world unraveling in real time, but he wasn't ready to confront her, not yet. No, Alex needed to hold on to some semblance of control. He needed to process this, to figure out what to do next. The emotions that surged through him, anger, betrayal, disbelief, were overwhelming, but he refused to let them consume him. And as the seconds ticked by, Alex stood there, motionless, absorbing the full extent of Lucy's betrayal. His mind raced, wondering how long this had been going on, how many lies had been told, how much of their relationship was real, how much of it had been a facade. Everything he had believed in, every promise, every plan for the future, was crumbling in that moment, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. If this part is making sense, drop a comment with "I'm still here." Let's see who's really watching to this point. Shocked and betrayed, Alex took a deep breath, trying to steady his racing thoughts. The world around him felt like it was spinning, but he knew one thing for certain. This was no longer about the wedding. It was about revenge. His heart ached with every beat, but his mind was clear. As Lucy prepared to walk down the aisle, Alex made a decision that would change everything. He wouldn't let her walk away unscathed, not after what he had just heard. Was Lucy truly a victim of circumstance, or had she been the villain all along? Alex began to question everything about their relationship. The late-night calls, the evasive behavior, the way she had always seemed to pull away when he needed her most. How long had this betrayal been brewing? Was it all part of her plan to take everything from him all along? The wedding continued, and the guests smiled, oblivious to the storm brewing just beneath the surface. But Alex wasn't just going to let Lucy get away with this. He wasn't going to let her take everything from him without a fight. He had a plan, and it would unfold in ways no one expected. At the altar, as Lucy smiled, her eyes glistening with excitement, ready to say her vows, Alex stood up. Without a word, he reached for the microphone. His hand was steady, but his heart was anything but calm. The silence in the room was deafening as all eyes turned toward him. His voice rang out, calm, measured, but full of intensity. "I have a surprise for my bride." The room fell silent as Alex turned toward the media team and gave them a signal. The screen flickered to life, and the room collectively gasped. Lucy's words, her betrayal, played for everyone to hear. The laughter, the lies, the plans to take everything Alex had. It was all exposed in front of their friends, families, and guests. Every single word she had spoken on the phone, every cruel thought she had kept hidden, was now laid bare. There was no escaping it. She couldn't deny the truth anymore. Lucy stood there, her face drained of color, her lips trembling. Her betrayal had been laid bare for the world to see. Her smile faded, replaced by a look of sheer panic. She tried to speak, but the words caught in her throat. Alex didn't have to say anything more. The damage was done. He had taken control of his life and his future. His revenge wasn't about hurting her, it was about reclaiming his dignity, his self-worth, and his right to live without the lies she had built around him. If this story hit you like it did us, hit that like button. It helps us reach more people. And don't forget to subscribe for more gripping stories every week. What do you think really happened that night? Was justice served? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.